What's going on, everybody? Jeff Porter from the Indie Gamer Magazine. Today, we're going to take a look at Humankind and Civilization. We're going to look ahead to another game showcase that's coming, and we're going to announce the winner of Glitchpunk. So, what do you say we load it up? Hey, what's going on? Good evening. Hope everybody's enjoying their week. We're about halfway through, so hump day. So first of all, before we get into anything, of course, I got to talk to you about this wonderful tool for game developers called Beamable. So what is Beamable? Beamable is a free-to-use tool for game developers that easily allows you to add social, commerce, and content management features to your game with low-code drag-and-drop prefabs that integrate into Unity seamlessly. So this is a really great tool if you're a developer, you're looking to take your game to that next level, and you want to get, you get that extra income, get that extra money. You can add that commerce content to it really easily just by dragging and dropping stuff down. And of course, everybody needs social, so you got to spread the word, talk to your people, and do all that stuff. So Beamable is a great tool. You can go down below, use the link, and you can start your free trial right now. So if you're a developer, you're looking to take your game to that next level, Beamable is definitely the place to do it. For our award show, we are actually going to have the folks over at Beamable on the show for our game award show, so it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get to hear a lot more about the kind of the behind the scenes and why they created it and how they do it, and so it should be really awesome. I'm looking forward to it a lot. They've been really good to us, really good to the magazine, and it's a great tool for game developers. Okay, so now let's jump into it. So first we're going to talk a little bit about this new showcase. We're going to announce the winner of Glitchpunk, and then we're going to jump into this heated debate about about who's the king, Humankind or Civilization. So first we're going to jump into Yokaze Night. It is a Japanese indie game showcase set for December 4th. So I think, as we did with Thunderful Games, I think we're going to do another live stream. It was a lot of fun. We had some people join us and talk about some games and stuff. So I think we're going to be doing that. So Yokaze Night, Japanese indie game showcase set for December 4th. It'll be at YouTube, be able to watch on YouTube. So Yokaze is an indie game label selecting games based on their engaging atmosphere, the company says. Our games use their visuals, sound, text, gameplay, and more to create an emotional experience capable of drawing you into their world. Tonight, we will showcase some of these games, including new information regarding certain titles. So there is a little teaser here. I don't really... maybe we'll play a little bit of it just to... Oh, okay, it's only 22 seconds, so let's see what this says. Okay, so just powering up the old game system. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of games they showcase. Obviously, obviously Japanese games, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of RPGs. Get that classic Japanese style. So that's going to be on December 4th. So we will be probably streaming that and seeing what cool goodies we can see in that. So looking forward to it. Thunderful Games was a lot of fun. I really liked it. They had Mark Hamill. They showcased in our magazine. By the way, new magazine just released today, December 1st. Issue number 35. 35, almost 3 years of doing this magazine. So 35. In our top 10 this month, we go through the top 10 announcements from Thunderful World. Talk a little bit about the games and do all that kind of thing. So be sure to head over to our Patreon, subscribe. You can get the magazine for as low as $3 a month digitally. You can go to our website, indiegamermag.com. You can pick up a single issue. It's $1 more, but you can get the digital issue. But I would suggest just subscribing. If you really like it, you want that physical copy. The premium edition for $20, you get $20 worth of Steam games every month. You get posters, you get stickers, you get a bunch of cool stuff. You get the physical magazine, you get the digital magazine, you get it all. So a lot of great content in there. And I'm really excited. We had a great interview with the developers of Dubium. Dubium's coming out in 2022. Without giving away too much, it It's going to be really big. It's going to be big. It's going to be awesome. So we have an interview with the developers in there. They were kind enough to take some time out and talk to us. So check out the magazine. Completely forgot where I was going with that. Oh, right, but like the top tens and stuff. So, Thunderful went really well. So I think we'll do it for Yokaze Night. So let's jump over. We'll do our spinner wheel. It is a different. I was having trouble. I don't know why. I don't know if it's something with the website or my browser. I was having trouble with the spinner we normally use, so I just switched to a different spinner. It's the same thing. It spins. So let's hop over here. So as you can see, you probably find your name on here. For Glitchpunk, you are a an Android bounty hunter. So I asked you if you could upgrade one thing on yourself if you were a bounty hunter like that. What would it be? And these are the people who commented. So let's see who's won the Steam key for Glitchpunk. All right, congratulations to Red Snow 717. I have a lot of questions about your name. But it's all right. So Red Snow 717 said, I would upgrade my eyes first to be more analytical with wider vision, since gathering information is important to me. So congratulations to Red Snow on winning Glitchpunk Steam key. We'll be in contact with you and we'll get you that key. And thank you everybody for commenting. Thank you everybody for watching the show. It means a lot to us. It's a great thing to do in with the magazine. So we're able to push out a lot more content for you guys, and we've got some cool stuff coming up, especially with the award show. So with that, let's get into a little bit about two very similar games. I will say that they're very similar, obviously. But I think one has, I don't know. Oh man, I would say that one has a clear cut advantage, and I will say that one of them is neck and neck. So what I will say is let's talk a little bit about Civilization first, because Civilization's like the OG, right? I've been playing Civ since 99 2000, so with like Call to Power I think was like 2002, I want to say, somewhere in there. I've been playing Civ for a long time, and now recently, yes, I am on Civ 5. The recent the more recent Civilization 6 is it's not it doesn't it's not good. Let's just get it out there. Civ 6 does not live up to the Civilization name. Civ 5 is still widely more popular, widely more played online, and just widely more appreciated than Civilization 6. Civ 6, they tried taking, I'll give them credit, they tried doing some newer kind of things and exploring that world a little bit more, but it fell flat. It fell flat for a lot of people, and it just did not have the same the same value to people as Civ 5. So with Civ 5, you can see over 110,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews. Civ 5 is an incredible game. It is from Firaxis, who is they were part of, or they were bought by 2K. So while Firaxis, I would say, started out as like an indie studio, they are now owned by, a AAA studio. So I mean, there's still some roots there. So in Civ 5, the typical, you go around, you start in the earliest era, you have to build up your civilization. You start with one town, two towns. You have to manage your happiness levels in all of those cities. They could revolt. You can go to war. There's tons of different ways to win the game. You can win by science, by money, by military, by influence. There's just a ton of different ways to win. And it does have that track record of, like I said, it's been around forever. Civilization has been around since almost before me. It's been a long time. So it has that legacy value to it. However, like I said, they did kind of take a step back with Civ 6. Now, if we jump over to Humankind, which released this year, Humankind took a few different liberties and a different way to winning the game and playing through and building your civilization. There are a few different things that I like with Humankind as opposed to Civilization. So in Civilization, when you start out with your settler, you can settle a town right away, right? You start right away, you put down your city, probably next to a river or coast or something. You automatically start growing. You place down your shrine or whatever you want to build first, your granary, and you go from there. So you automatically start like that. What Humankind does that I think is really interesting is you start out as like a traveling, basically like cavemen. You're out just wandering, looking for food, looking for science wonders and stuff like that. And you can't build a city until you get a certain amount of influence. And I think that's a really interesting this ancient era, or this it's before the ancient era, but I think that's really the Neolithic era. I think that's a really interesting way of doing it, because civilization is saying we're not even starting from the beginning, we're just starting here with a city, which is like, after you graduate, like here's $10,000, here's your head start. It's like, well, that's not really starting new. So it kind of takes a liberty there. So I do like how Humankind, you have to play through that Neolithic era. You have to traverse a little bit. You can't just plop down a city right away. Sometimes, you might get lucky. You find a question mark thing with 5 influence, or you kill a deer right away or something. You get that 5 influence. But it usually takes a couple of turns before you get that first city. Now, something that I think Civ 5 and Humankind both do really well is managing their city cap. That's where I think a lot of people kind of lost their way in Civ 6, because with Civ 6, you can kind of just start plopping down cities right away. I've seen games where people just spam settlers right out the gate, and they've got 8 towns going almost instantly. And it's just like, well, is that really, I don't think that's right. And I like how in Civ 5, you have the happiness meter. You have to measure that. The more cities you have, the harder it is to maintain a happy civilization. Makes sense. Humankind has a city cap limit, which you can go over, but once you start going over, you start getting docked on influence and certain other things. So Civ 5 and Humankind both have that city management system that makes sense, and it works really well. Now, with Humankind, what's interesting is as you progress through the eras, you get to pick new civilization. So for the first ancient era, you could be the Egyptians, and then in the next one, you could switch and be the Olmecs or whatever. So they each have their own little bonuses that last throughout the game. So it adds a little bit more versatility, and you can kind of change your playstyle as you go. Whereas with Civilization, you pick, and then you're stuck like that. So I don't know about anybody else, but as I've played Civilization, it's like, okay, I'm gonna start as the seafarers. I'm gonna go out, and then I'm landlocked, and it's like that didn't work out at all. So I like the versatility as well with Humankind, so you can kind of change your playstyle as you go. Something that I think I prefer in Humankind, but I think is better in Civilization. Civilization is a lot simpler to get a military victory. I'm not saying it's always easy, but it's simpler. Whereas in Humankind, they have this interesting war support system, and I really like it. I know some people fight with me on that, and they prefer the Civilization method, and I get it. In Civilization, it is very simple to get a military victory. You just start pumping out, and you can start right away, and you go and you just start taking over cities, and you could end the game pretty quick. With Humankind, gaining war support and getting bonuses to, like, because you don't just take over a city, you occupy it, which I think is also interesting. And then at the end of the war, you get so many war points. You can pick and choose, like, you give me this city and this amount of money. You can even get them so they become basically like you're their king, which is an interesting playstyle as well. So I prefer the war support in Humankind, but I still think that Civilization has the better war support. As far as like science, influence, gold, they both basically play about the same. Um, I mean, with humankind, you have to have influence to settle new outposts and cities and stuff, whereas civilization, you just make a settler. So there's a lot of give and take there. It just kind of depends on your preference. However, like overall, even though civilization has this legacy system and it's built upon it over several iterations and it continues, well, it doesn't continue to get better, but it continued to get better until 2010 with Civ 5. There was that moment where it's like, what else can you really do? With humankind, they keep a lot of the tech trees and the influence and a lot of the same similar properties. However, they took a few changes with the Neolithic era, switching through different civilizations through each era, and the war support, I think, is one of the biggest changes. I will say personally that after putting in nearly 1,000 hours on Civ 5 and recently about 100 hours on Humankind, I'm already preferring Humankind. I'm not saying that I don't like Civ 5 anymore because Civ 5 is still fantastic, but I'm having a lot more fun on Humankind because I feel like it's a little bit more challenging. And I don't mean more challenging as in, if you play Civ 5, you're an idiot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying with Civ 5, not being able to just take over cities. And something that I learned is if you if you are in a war and you start pillaging an enemy city and it disappears, you lose your occupancy bonus in the fight. So, so I thought that was really confusing. I thought you should get like a huge bonus for destroying one of their cities, but actually it helps them. So there are a few things like that where I think it's a little bit more challenging. You have to think it out a little bit more. Whereas with Civ, you're just like, I've got my siege units, I've got my archers, and I've got my melee unit to go in and capture the city. Now it's mine. Let's go to the next one. Whereas with Humankind, you may have to go to war twice with a civilization just to get all their cities, 3 times even. I think the fastest I've done it is twice, and that was challenging. There's my puppy. So I think Humankind kind of takes a little bit of a better approach with the war system, and I also love the Neolithic era. I think the Neolithic era, because depending on how you play it, you can get bonuses that last throughout the entire game, and it makes it a little bit of a race to see who can get that first city, or the first star, so you can advance. And then make your first city. So, whether you're going to do that through hunting, whether you're going to find the science for it, whether you're going to grow by population. I think that's really interesting. And I like the point system in Humankind better as well. It's a little bit more fleshed out. It's a little bit more, you know what you're going to get. I know Civilization has their point system, and you good? And it does make sense. But I like how Humankind is a little bit more in your face about it, and it tells you you created your first religious thing. Here's 50 points. If you get so many stars in this, here's 100 points. You know what I mean? So I really like the era system. I like the point system. I like earning stars. It gives you more Civilization. You are working for something. Don't get me wrong. But with Humankind, it's more in your face about it. It says, hey, here's a bunch of different things you can progress towards. You can progress towards population, science, influence, outposts, territories, stuff like that. And it kind of gives you a to-do list almost. And I really like that. It feels like I'm working more for something, whereas Civ, it can kind of like dull down after a while. You build up your cities, your armies and stuff, and then it just kind of turns into, well, I guess I'll go take everybody over. And with Humankind, that era star system, I think, is really interesting, and it makes it more. I wouldn't say more competitive because Civ 5 is very competitive, but it makes it more. Like I said, it gives you like a to-do list, and I really like that. So, I mean, while Civ has that legacy system, I will say that I prefer Humankind overall. The new territory system I really like. So instead of planting your city in Civ 5 and growing your borders, you're claiming territories, which can be good and bad. While I prefer it, I would actually give the city system to Civ. I think they've created like fleshed it out better, but I do like the territory system. It's almost like a game of Risk, and it makes it more interesting to me. So overall, I will say I think Civilization is a better executed game. I think it's more technical in some points, but I do think Humankind, uh, I will say it takes the cake for me. I think it's better. I think it's taken a lot of what Civilization has built over the last couple of decades and added enough to make it their own and still make it engaging and interesting, and especially with that era system. So I think they did a really good job with that. So overall, in my opinion, I would give, if you're a huge fan of Civ, I would say give Humankind a try, because I think Humankind, it's a little bit different to get into. It took me about 2 or 3 days to kind of figure out all the systems and what the territories and the different influences and cities and stuff meant. But once I got it figured out, and the trading system, once I got that figured out, I'd give it to Humankind. I think Humankind takes what Civ has done and makes it better, all except for the war. And again, I like the war system better, but I know a lot of people prefer the military system in Civ 5. So overall, I would give it to Humankind. I think Humankind is a more fleshed out game that gives you more of an objective to follow through each era. Whereas the beginning of Civ, you kind of pick your civilization, you say, I'm going to do this. And then once you start, that's all you're kind of focused on. Whereas with Humankind, you can kind of move in and out of what you're doing through each era, which makes sense because, in each era of Humankind, we've gone through Dark Ages, we've gone through Enlightenment eras where we discover a bunch of new science things, we build stuff, and then we've gone through those eras where we destroy the stuff that we built, which is insane, but it's what we do. And you can kind of see that with Humankind. You can start off, and with the Harappans, I'm going to focus on population. Whereas the next era, you might pick a industry culture or a war culture. And I really like it. I really like that system. So I think Humankind has done a really, really good job in balancing what was already built upon by other RTSs and adding their own style to it and making it really popular. So that's kind of my opinion after playing Civ for as long as I have, and then jumping into Humankind for as much as I have in the last few weeks. I would say that Humankind is doing a damn good job of building upon what was already there, and adding some new stuff and making it unique. Go down in the comments below. Let me know what you think. If you had to pick between Civ or Humankind, what one do you prefer? And do you think I'm wrong? Let me know if you prefer Civ and you think that it's better than Humankind, and Humankind has done a whole bunch of things wrong. Let me know your opinion, and let's get this conversation going in the chat down below. So I think that's going to be the show for today. I kind of rambled on for a while about Humankind and Civ. So congratulations to Red Snow for winning. Glitchpunk. Be sure to follow us for the Yokaze Night. And Humankind or Civ. Be sure to check out our social media. Subscribe to our Patreon for the magazine for as low as $3 a month. Check out the new issue. You can go down to the website and get the single issue if you don't want to subscribe yet. I understand you want to try it out, see what's going on. Go check it out. And I think that's good. So I'll be back Friday. We'll do our giveaway again, and then we'll have some new content for you. So enjoy the rest of your week. I hope it's going well. You've made it through Wednesday. Let's coast out these last 2 days. So I'll see you guys then.